After Lionhead Studios was kicked to the curb a while back in 2016 and disbanded by Microsoft, I pretty much said goodbye to the Fable franchise. But I was surprised a couple days ago to hear of the rumors of Fable 4. But apparently, seeing as they disbanded the company that was known for making Fable games, they are bringing Playground Games in to develop the next Fable. Now, Playground Games you might have heard of. They make a very different kind of game right now. They're in charge of the Forza franchise, and if you like car games, I think it's one of the best ones out there. But apparently Playground Games has opened a second studio in Leamington Spa, UK, where, according to Eurogamer, they're looking to hire about 200 new employees to supposedly work on the new Fable 4. And I actually looked into this. If you go to their website and look under the job listings, you can see they're searching for a bunch of new employees like artists, animators, producers, and another creative director to join our, quote, brand new open world RPG development team. You will join the team and the project at an early stage, giving you the rare opportunity to shape the technology used to build a large-scale AAA title. That sounds pretty close to Fable to me. Now, like I said, Playground are known mostly for their Forza games, and they're an interesting choice to work on Fable 4, but I'm actually pretty optimistic that they could really invigorate the series, because I feel like Fable is a game that has suffered from major, scoping issues in the past. I feel like there's too many good ideas, almost. Obviously, Peter Molyneux was the guy behind it, this great visionary in terms of video games, but also someone who is known for overcommitting and over-promising things that he really can't deliver. And I feel like Fable really suffered from that, and I think it'd be really cool if they kind of doubled down and focused on the one or two things that really made Fable, and then just completely kind of rework the rest of it. I think that'd be really cool to do. I think it'd be a really good thing for the game for this fresh new company to kind of take it over. Now, I was secretly hoping for Fable 4 teaser at E3, and while we didn't get any explicit information, the Xbox boss Phil Spencer did confirm the rumor that they had acquired Playground Games to bring Forza Horizon and obviously their racing games to the Xbox, but also to bring their open world expertise to a whole new project. I thought we were about to get something on Fable, and then he was like, we'll talk about that later. I assumed that was later in the conference, but it wasn't. And then an interview with another Xbox marketing exec later on in the day, he was like, yeah, Playground, they're working on something else, but we're not talking about it yet. So it was a little bit of a tease. I'm quietly confident that that's Fable 4, and we were so close to a confirmation that it exists. That's all I want. I just want confirmation that it exists so they can't bail on it, but we didn't quite get that. So we're kind of in that stage where we're waiting for a game to exist, and waiting for a game to be announced is kind of a sucky spot to be in, especially when you care about a lot and that has such a long history with so many players. But I want to take advantage of this time where basically anything is possible in regards to a new Fable game. Any new feature can be added, any, random thing that I want to put in, I can talk about as if it might happen. And obviously once the trailers come out, once the gameplay starts coming out, obviously those things will start getting knocked off, and obviously Fable will not have, a battle royale game mode or whatever. So now I just want to talk about this big whole list I have in front of me of things that I would love to have in a new Fable game. So the number one thing I would want in a new Fable game has to be a true, proper open world. No more of these crazy long loading screens for every tiny door that you walk through. Fable 3 was the absolute worst with loading screens, and it's 2018, there's really no reason for it. There was really no reason for it in 2010 when Fable 3 came out, or whenever it came out around then. So yeah, loading screens, way too many of them in the Fable universe. Especially in the older games, the game always felt super compact and almost on rails, even though for the time it was very, very open. But I would love a truly large, seamless open world where you can just wander. And then with a massive new open world, we would need a new way to get around, regardless of whether there's fast travel or not. I think Fable actually has a good solution to fast travel because of the gates that they had in them. But I would also love to see mounts in the game. Mounts are something that some people exclusively play certain MMOs for. It's crazy. So I think it'd be fun to have mounts so you can make traveling around the universe that little bit more exciting. 3 is updated combat. I think they would really need to flesh out a combat system, because this may be a little bit controversial, but I never loved the Fable combat. At the time, it was pretty good, but going back and playing it, I don't really think it holds up that well. The fact that all your abilities are on 1 or 2 buttons, I kind of want more... something where I can have a full, if I decide to be a will user, I can have a full, huge spell book of abilities. But also, keep that mix of magic and guns and melee weapons that Fable was really unique for having. I loved how you could be shooting firebolts out of your hands wearing these mage robes, but you could also still have a huge sword on your back and a bow or a gun. And I thought that was really cool, really unique, something that Fable really does that not many other games do. Just to really flesh it out and rework it, I think would be a good idea. With a new Fable, I would really want better questing, like proper Skyrim, Witcher 3 type questing, with maybe even dialogue options, really capitalize on the choose-your-own-adventure style of game that I really think Fable was always meant to be, almost. I mean, have permanent consequences for your actions that can really actually be seen around the world. Basically that spiel that every MMO ever gives about a real, breathing, living world. Yeah, do that with real changes over time. Fable is all about making decisions, so you need to be able to talk to all sorts of different people, so I think dialogue options would really add to the decision-making process, not just press A or B to help or to not help this person. I think there can be some, like, there shouldn't just be the good and the bad path. There needs to be all sorts of mixtures of the two in between. You know, all sorts of shades of gray in between the deepest black and the brightest light, so that you can really create a unique character every time you play the game. Replayability would be a big part, and is a big part in Fable games. Number 5, update the morality system. So the morality system was a huge part of the game. I absolutely loved the idea that your appearance literally changes when you become good or evil, so your actions affect how you even look to other people, and how people react to you. Take that, revamp it, and take it to the extreme on both ends, and make it a huge part of the gameplay as well. If you decide to be the darkest, evilest person in the game, give them abilities that show that, so there are big gameplay reasons to go good or bad, or anywhere in between. And if I decide to go full evil mode, I really want you to be able to actually turn into like that demon thing that they had on the cover of Fable 2. Actually make it like super drastic, like actually turn me into a monster if I decide to go all the way overboard on that direction, and do something similar for the good side as well. And I know a lot of those things were in the older games, but they were always so watered down compared to what we expected them to be. I know there were certain abilities that you could only use if you were evil, or if you were good, or if you were whatever, but I just really want them to take that and expand it. It should have been such a huge, huge system, but they couldn't really do it justice, I don't think, because it's a fantastic idea. Peter Molyneux, people like to complain about him, but he is like a visionary. Like, he is on some level somewhere down there, a genius, and he has some great ideas. But yeah, just really try to do those ideas justice in the next Fable. I know this is a lot to ask, but anything's possible right now, so I'm just going for it. Number 6, a ton of new weapons. I would love some spears, some flails. I don't know if those were in the other games. Maybe they were. But I would actually really love to see shields. Shields are dope, so I don't know why they weren't in some of the other games. This kind of almost fits in with the open world stuff, but adding factions that align to certain aspects of morality would be really cool. Like, think Fallout, think Skyrim, like the Stormcloaks or Caesar's Legion, but in Fable that would work so well, and I don't know why they didn't do that like much in the other games. Add all these factions with different intentions so you can really work on what kind of character you want to be without having to go through the main storyline. Add new stories, compelling stories that you can tell through the factions. Number 8, I'd love more character customization, like a full character customization system would be pretty dope. I don't know how they'd work that through in the storyline. It may not be possible because of the story limitations, unless we go back in time to before Fable 2 or 3 and pick like a different hero, a different lineage of heroes. Although, that may not be possible. My lore isn't up to snuff really in the Fable universe anymore, so that may not be possible because of how the story worked. Also, on the back of that, having some sort of like procedural but permanent scarring system. I mean, this would probably be a feature that you'd need to turn on and off because some people wouldn't like it. Like if you fall off a cliff by accident and your character just has a janky leg for the rest of the game, some people might not like that, but it would make it really fun to replay. Like, oh man, this run my character, like a piece of his arm got chopped off, so like he can't use his left arm, or his left arm is just weird looking and twisted around for this entire playthrough. So by the end, some of your characters would look gross as balls. It would make them look like they've actually been fighting monsters their whole lives. But it would make not getting killed and not getting beaten up a lot a real achievement too, because your guy would be actually like looking okay when he was like 80 years old. So that'd be a cool thing to implement if they could figure out how to do it well. I'd also love aging. Aging would be pretty dope if you can actually see your character grow old. Like, it'd be sweet to start off as a young wizard or whatever, and then as you age, get older and older. Then by the time you're an old man, he's an old man with a big beard in his robe. He's a little Gandalf guy. That'd be pretty sweet, I think, to see your character's age. 9, speaking of aging, families would be dope. Like full, like in-depth family systems. Maybe when your main character dies, you can take over as one of your children. So it gives you like a practical reason to find a family and have kids. Because you have this hero's blood, right, in Fable, and you need to find maybe another hero to partner with so you can continue the lineage of heroes and have pure heroic blood in your children and stuff. Then you can take over as them. That'd be really cool. I mean, I'm sure all these systems would be a pain in the butt to implement, but it'd be really sweet if they could pull off something even a little bit like this. 10, a lot of people really don't like that steampunk technology is sort of in the Fable universe, but I would love to continue the juxtaposition between like high fantasy stuff of Fable 1 and the steampunk tech stuff that they had in Fable 2 and Fable 3 a lot. It's a weird universe, but I think it's a cool one. A lot of people would love to, I think, transition right into full industrial stuff, which would make sense if you went in the chronological order. If you made Fable for the next Fable, whatever it's called, a game that takes place after Fable 3. I don't know how I feel about that. It'd make the magic stuff a lot harder to work with, and a lot of the world of Albion, I don't know, I like because of the fantasy of it, and I don't know if that would be ruined when there's like, I don't know, I heard rumors that when Lionhead was still around, they wanted like flying cars and all sorts of crap, and it makes sense because they've never been afraid to do stuff like that, but I don't think I want to go full, industrial. Yeah, I don't want super high-tech stuff. Steampunk mixed with high fantasy is really cool, I think. And I think Fable 2 is the perfect tone, if you will, for the next Fable game. Number 11, a reason to play after you finish the main storyline. Like, they need to develop full DLC, maybe full expansion type stuff to continue to broaden the world. So when you do go back and play it years later, if this, this might be the last Fable game. If they're bringing it back, I would expect they'd continue to work on it. But if for some reason this would be the last Fable, give players lots of reasons besides what you can get in the morality system, creating characters. Let them go back and play through all this extra stuff that you added afterwards. So each playthrough really has a lot of depth to it. Number 12 is regarding the graphics. Obviously, I think it would be a good idea, and it's likely that if they bring back Fable, they're gonna probably maybe spruce up the graphics, just to get the average Joe that doesn't maybe know much about Fable into the game. It's like, oh look, this game looks nice. I don't know if they should stick with the cartoony style. I think if you went with a full open world game and make it a tiny bit more serious, not necessarily get rid of the humor, but make the tone a lot more serious, I think it would be really cool to put the cartoon graphics to the side, keep the humor, but keep it a serious looking world. 13 would be multiplayer and co-op. I don't know if this is even a good idea, to be honest, but I threw it in here anyways. Not having maybe a full-scale multiplayer, but having a local or online co-op with just 1 or 2 people, like they tried to do in Fable 2 and ended up doing in Fable 3, but actually good, would be awesome. But if a feature needs to be cut out to make the other ones fit in, this is the one that I want to be cut out. 14, a full PC release. So make this more a PC game than a console game. Make this a PC game that also happens to be on a console, because I think PCs would open up a lot more that you could do with the game. I don't think this is likely to happen. It's an Xbox game, but make it available on PC, please. Unlike Fable 2 and nowadays Fable 3. You can't get them. Fable 1 Anniversary is on Steam. Put this game on frickin' Steam when it comes out. And finally, what I would really want in a new Fable game would be a real Fable game. The Fable game that was promised by Peter Molyneux way back in 2004 or whenever. Not a watered-down experience that under-delivers and over-promises, but a game that knows exactly what it is. That's what would make a good Fable game, in my opinion. So I think I've rambled on long enough. I went full nerd mode there for a little bit. I got really excited about some of the features. Obviously, all these things would not be in a new Fable game, but I'm hoping that 1 or 2 of these things would make it in. But I just want to say a big thanks to you guys for watching. Let me know what you would want to see in a new Fable game down in the comments below. I think this is a really fun time to, even though the game isn't anywhere near release or even announcement, it's a fun time to speculate and to talk about what we would love in an ideal Fable game. So definitely put those suggestions down below. If you want to see more Fable content if it does get announced, be sure to subscribe to my channel because I'll definitely be talking about it. I kind of forgot how much I loved the series and how much I loved these games, so I really want to continue to cover it in the future. So dropping a sub would mean a lot to me. Once again, a big thanks for watching the video. I'll see you guys next time.